Hi there, welcome to the segment Canadian Political Ideologies and Parties. In this presentation, we'll briefly explore the concept of ideology and its meaning, and the ideology of Canada's major political parties at the federal level. Now, I should note that while at the federal level there are actually 19 registered political parties, I'll only focus on the parties which fit into two categories. They must either have seats in the House of Commons or they received a significant portion of the popular vote nationwide in an election. Now, before we get into a discussion of political parties in Canada, there are a few terms that we need to familiarize ourselves with first. We'll be talking about ideas and values which define entities known as political parties. A political party, at its most basic, is an organization that tries to influence or direct or create policy based on its ideology or beliefs. And often political parties vie or compete for political support from citizens or voters, particularly through elections, so that they can form a government. Now, there can be numerous political parties, but not all of them are able to secure concrete and significant political support, which comes in the form of votes or seats in a legislative body. So, for instance, as I said at the top, there are 19 political parties registered with Elections Canada. However, only 5 have seats in the House of Commons and are quote-unquote serious contenders. And that label of a serious contender really depends on who you ask. So as I mentioned up top, that the political parties are guided by certain values, beliefs, ideas, principles that are meant to separate them from other political parties or distinguish them from other political parties. And these principles or values are often based in ideologies. And ideologies are a body of doctrine, myth, belief, literally the ideas that guide individuals, social movements, institutions, classes, or large groups of people. Political ideology is a doctrine or belief system that defines a political group, such as a political party. And so, Canadian political ideology are the ideas or beliefs held by political parties in Canada. Now, Canadian political ideology at its most simplistic level, particularly as it's referred to in the media, is broken down into a left-right spectrum. And that's what you're seeing here. Typically, left-wing parties are more socially progressive, more environmentally friendly. Left-wingers, as they are often referred, build their support around policies like affordable housing, increases in spending to socialized medicine, Medicare. They promote strict environmental regulations, and they're more anti-traditionalist, if you will, when it comes to older government institutions. Left-wingers believe in sizable governments which have the power to solve the issues that we face as a society. Now, typically, right-wing parties tend to be more traditional about institutions such as the monarchy, are very gung-ho or vehement in their desire to bolster the military. They're small c conservative or even neoliberal when it comes to the economy. For them, the private sector is the best mechanism for service delivery. Governments should be small, and they're all about individual rights versus collective or group rights. Then you have the centrists in the middle. They're halfway between the views of the left and the views of the right. Holding center usually means finding a balance between competing ideas. But it's important to note that these centrist left-wingers, right-wingers, they tilt left and right a great deal depending on the leadership of their party. So under some liberal leaders, for example, you might find that they tilt more to the left, whereas other liberal leaders, you see them tilt more to the right. So anyway, centrists believe in medium-sized government for the most part, believe in fiscal discipline, but believe in spending on social programs like healthcare and education. They try to balance collective or group rights with individual rights. So as I said, there are varying degrees of left and right. And this spectrum doesn't capture all of the variables or degrees of left and right. For example, it's possible to be fiscally conservative, which is right-wing, while being socially progressive, which is traditionally on the left. Now, a more recent way of looking at political ideology has taken the form of a political compass, and I would encourage you to go visit politicalcompass.org. And what they try to do is identify ideologies more accurately. And this is what their traditional compass, or what their compass, political compass, looks like. Now, it's important to realize when looking at this scale that bold identifiers are the extreme categories, so authoritarianism, libertarianism, left, and right. So the authors of Political Compass have used these identifiers as a range of ideological classification. Various ideologies fall within one of these four quadrants. And just as they can fall into these four quadrants, they can just as easily be transferred from that traditional linear spectrum as we've seen to this political compass. You'll notice anywhere on going up or down is a social scale, and left to right is their economic scale. So, for example, here you see that fascism is an extreme structure of government in the authoritarian classification, while anarchism is the extreme classification of libertarianism, and these fall on the social scale. Communism is an extreme left-wing ideology, as neoliberalism is an extreme right-wing ideology, and these are located on the economic scale. So based on politicalcompass.org's understanding of each of these former leaders and one professor, they are placed on this scale. So Milton Friedman and his Chicago School brethren, they really supported the idea of neoliberalism, neoliberal thought. And so he's on the right side of the economic scale and is in the is not too far down near the libertarian part of the compass, and that's because he still believes that government should be there for certain things. They don't believe in breaking down the government, but they do believe that the government should be keep its hands off of a lot of things, like social programs and that sort of thing. Now, Gandhi advocated nonviolent revolution and self-rule in India. So he's more of a left-wing. He's a little bit further down the social scale than Friedman is, because he advocated self-rule. And Hitler, whose Nazi party was fascist in structure, meaning they legally sanctioned the persecution of groups of people, but weren't as far right in his economic policies. But now the question is, how do our federal parties stack up according to politicalcompass.org? This here is the politicalcompass.org's depiction of the 2011 federal general election. So this depiction suggests that in terms of fiscal policy, there's not a real big difference between the Liberals and the Conservative Party this time around. But there is a significant difference. Actually, I should say this: fiscal discipline. There's not too much of a difference here, but there is a difference in their social policies, particularly because, and mostly due to, the ethical issues that emerged in the campaign. Because one of the main issues was the proroguing Parliament. That happened in 2008 and 2009. The Tories were held in contempt of Parliament, and so those ethical issues separated the two parties on a social level. And the NDP, who would traditionally be more around here, socially and economically, moved more toward the center to depict itself as a better alternative to the Liberal Party. So where do you fall on the political spectrum, on the traditional one and on the compass? Do you usually align or vote for one political party? Are you left, right, center? What about the political compass? Check out www.politicalcompass.org/test to see where you fall. Now, you should note that the outcome of this test is only a reference point based on the site's creators' attempts to make the traditional spectrum more all-encompassing, if you'll forgive the pun. It's an interesting spin on the traditional categorization of ideology. Check out their FAQ section too. For more information on Canadian political parties, though, the ones that we've mentioned and others, please check out these links. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can drop us a line by using the Contact Us page on the website. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and we'll see you next time.